I didn't expect to wake up. I got stuck in the fog. Stay-at-home rules in the morning. A rapid siren woke me up. Then the owner group of our 2 units. Suddenly a message came. The heavy fog dissipated after 7 days. Please abide by the following rules. Looking forward to seeing you on the next sunny day. There is poison in the mist. Please do not come into contact with heavy fog during this period. 2. No matter how much food is in the refrigerator, I can only eat it for 1 day. 3. The home is safe, but I can only stay at home alone. If there are more than 2 people at home, we'll die collectively. 4. Assume that the food is finished. You can go downstairs and buy food. 5. Don't trust anyone. Please protect yourself. If someone knocks on the door, never open the door. 6. The community has no service staff. If someone claims to be a service person, it must be a fake. 7. Never go out during heavy fog. I curled my lips. I think someone is playing a prank. I subconsciously looked at the person who sent the group message. Turns out to be a property manager. Lao Kun. Can I come? And someone in the inquiry group has already spoken first. The owners all speculated that Lao Kun's mobile phone was stolen. Why would you send such boring news? Until a photo was sent to the group. The group exploded instantly. A woman fell to the ground with a blue face. Pink foam appears at the corners of the mouth. I scared a smart guy. Hurry up and ask in the group what's going on. My girlfriend doesn't believe it. Open the window and stick your head out. It became like this. This is too terrible. What should we do? Is it possible to survive for 7 days by following the rules? There may not necessarily be many contradictions in the rules. As soon as my message is sent out, the group fell into a deathly silence. Everyone is carefully analyzing the rules. Black Flag community is not a single apartment. There are not many residents like me who live alone. The food in the refrigerator is only good for 1 day. You are not allowed to go out, but you're allowed to buy food. Are these rules true or false? My mind is a mess. Can't figure out a clue. Suddenly, a woman's shrill scream came from 502 next door. My scalp feels numb. Move timidly to the balcony. 502 man pinches his wife's neck hard, facing the struggle of my wife. He was completely indifferent. Suddenly, the man saw me peeping from the other side. He raised his head and smiled sinisterly at me. I quickly tightened the curtains, quickly retreated into the house. My nervous back was covered in cold sweat. The couple just got married. Obviously, the relationship has always been very good. It's like there's a ball of cotton stuck in my throat. Can't come up or go down. It becomes difficult to breathe. I open the refrigerator in despair. It's full of things I bought yesterday. What will happen to them tomorrow? There was a rapid knock on the door. Zhao Qi, I am your sister Li. Do you have pumpkins at home? Pumpkin wants to drink pumpkin porridge. Sister Li lives downstairs from me, living alone with my 6-year-old son. He takes good care of me on weekdays. Send me snacks often. Do not trust anyone. Please protect yourself. If someone knocks on the door, never open the door. Think of this rule. My heart lifts. Purse your lips. After shouting a few more times to understand, the sound of footsteps came from the corridor. Then there was silence. I'm sorry in my heart. Look out through the peephole. The corridor is empty. I was just about to breathe a sigh of relief. Sister Li suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Almost the whole eye is attached to the cat eye. I was so scared that I almost shouted. My heart is beating wildly. Zhao Qi, I know you are at the door. Could you open the door? Give me a pumpkin and I'll go. Sister Li's voice is a little hoarse, with a hint of pleading. Sister Li, there are no pumpkins in my house either. Think of that rule. I subconsciously refused. Sister Li's expression in the cat's eyes is very strange. Seems to be laughing. He turned around, walking forward stiffly. Intuition tells me there's something wrong with him. He walked to the door of 502. Knock again. He still repeats what he said to me. 502, still no movement. Understand, becoming a little irritable, hitting the door panel with his head again and again. He seems to feel no pain. Who is sick? 502 man. Violent questions rang out. The next second, there was a creaking sound of the door opening. I broke into a cold sweat in my heart for him. Only a scream was heard. Then it was quiet and all you could hear was my heartbeat. A sudden loud noise. I was so scared that I quit far away. Cover your ears tightly with both hands. Zhao Qi, open the door. Give me a pumpkin. My face is as pale as paper. It's extremely difficult to see. Sister Li, I really don't have any pumpkins. Pumpkin is looking for you at home. He misses you. I spoke with difficulty. Hearing my son's name, a glimmer of light appeared in Sister Li's chaotic eyes. Baby is waiting for me. He turned around mechanically, walking stiffly towards home. Not walked a few steps, Sister Li suddenly fell to the ground. No sound. The man in 502 violated the 5th rule. He will die. But Sister Li, what is the reason? Is it because he went out? Terrible. Tears flowed from my eyes uncontrollably. Finally got through noon. But I have no appetite at all. In order to maintain sufficient physical strength, I decided to cook some porridge. After opening the refrigerator, I'm a little dazed. The vegetables that were still fresh in the morning turned out to be wilted. There are spots on the fruit. I trembled and took these pictures, sent to owner group. Immediately many people responded, so does my family's. My refrigerated meat turned a little black. Have you ever heard of spots on uncooked rice? I was going to reply. The group owner suddenly banned us. Ding dong sound. The group owner sent a new message. Dear owners, rule updates. No dead bodies in the house. Otherwise it will attract gluttons. This rule gives me the creeps. I only heard a few loud bangs coming from the window. It's the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground. I opened the curtains with trembling hands. It's foggy outside. On the green belt of the community, there were a lot of corpses scattered everywhere. Cold sweat instantly wetted my clothes. Quickly reclose the curtains. Keep patting your chest. In front of life and death, people are indeed selfish. I'm so glad I'm single. At this moment, the fierce knock on the door rang again. I'm a real estate agent. The reaction from downstairs is that your house is leaking. There are no service personnel in the community. If someone claims to be a service person, it must be a fake. I remember this rule. I picked up my phone and looked at the single group. There's a knock on my door. Our family is the same. Said it was a leak from downstairs. Don't open the door. Whoever opens the door at this time is a fool. Many people attached, and the knocking on the door gets louder and louder. Suddenly there was a scream outside the door. Then there was the sound of gnawing. I was shocked. I didn't expect there to be fools. After a while, the noise outside gradually disappeared. The whole building became calm again. I finally made it through the night. The first thing I do when I open my eyes the next morning, just run to the kitchen. Food in the refrigerator that was still fresh yesterday. Everything has gone bad and rotten. It still smells faintly. I feel uneasy. Food must be eaten every day. You can go downstairs and buy it. But the house is poisonous and you're not allowed to go out. This is the first time in my life that I want to hit someone, just when I'm confused. The knock on the door rang again. I was shocked. What the hell? After knocking a few times, there was no movement. At this time, another message came from the mobile phone. Dear owners, rule updates. Protective clothing and gas masks are placed at the door. Valid for 1 hour. Please go home within the specified time. I bravely held my breath and opened a crack in the door. One look, there was indeed a protective suit and gas mask placed outside the door. I immediately reached out and took it in. Glancing at the corridor, stunned for a moment, then quickly closed the door. I ran to the balcony and looked down. Sure enough, all the corpses disappeared. The bodies of Sister Li and her neighbor at the door were also missing. What on earth is it? Now that I have protective clothing, I can go out and buy food. That means that in the previous rules, never go out during heavy fog. This rule is fake. Then understand why he died. I can't figure out a clue. But I didn't dare to show any slightness. After all, if you don't go out, I don't think I can make it through 7 days. After finishing dressing, I decisively went downstairs. The supermarket is next to my building. Usually people from the whole community stop by to buy things. They all go here. But there are so few people today. Walk into the supermarket. There is a blackboard at the door. The meat in the City Rules supermarket is very fresh. But you can't eat it. The vegetables are all newly purchased that day. Safe to eat. Each person can only buy one day's worth. Supermarkets can only serve food for 20 people at a time. The fewer people, the better. See last rule. I suddenly felt horrified. There are hundreds of people in one building. Even if you die, some food will not be enough. This is making everyone kill each other. But I saw that many people had already walked in. I quickly followed in. The supermarket door was closed after I entered. I turned around and looked outside. The blackboard that was just at the door is gone. That is to say, these people at the back can't see this rule at all. People outside who didn't have time to come in, looking inside eagerly. I sighed. Looks like I can't get out easily. Went to use protective clothing and gas masks. Only 1 hour. I turned around and went to get something to eat first. See fresh meat. Swallowed. I'm obviously a carnivorous person, but the rules say you can't eat meat from the supermarket. So I looked away with difficulty. Went to the vegetable area next to it. I took some green peppers and potatoes. I bought another bucket of instant noodles. Saw pumpkin pie. What did I think of? Subconsciously I took a bag. Just walked to the cashier. I saw the rules posted above. Supermarket internal rules. The back door of the supermarket is the commodity transportation channel. Can enter and leave the supermarket. The toilet next to the back door has no lock. Can be borrowed. The boss won't blame anyone. They might all be pretending to be gluttons. Gluttons like to eat meat. If in danger, you can throw the people around you out. Is this also a hidden rule? I looked at the people standing next to me. They all read the rules. Took a few steps back. Maintained some distance from each other. I took out my phone and took a photo. Let's break up slowly after we get back safely. Analysis followed by payment. Everyone has a tacit understanding. Silently walked to the back door. As soon as I left the door, I ran towards home. Everyone is dressed the same. Just hide things. No one would be able to recognize it in such a heavy fog. Haven't left for a while yet. I bumped into a thin girl wearing a white dress, huddled in chair. Raise your head when you see me coming. Pitiful. Sister, my things were taken away by bad guys. Can you help me? He looked at me with tears in his eyes. Can't help but make people sleepless. Think about the new rules. I hold back the sympathy that arises in my heart. Ignore his pleas. Walked straight past him. He shouted for a long time, seeing that I ignored him. Look again at the people behind you and continue calling for help. I ran back to the corridor in one breath. Suddenly there was a burst of screams from behind. I trembled with fright. Pressed the elevator quickly. Just entered the elevator, but I heard the sound of footsteps running outside. The footsteps are getting closer. I stared at the elevator entrance with my back. At the last moment when the door closes, a figure wearing a miniature protective suit appears in front of me. It's Sister Lee's son, Kunkin. He opens his big innocent eyes. Look at me timidly. And Chao Qi, have you seen my mother? I recall what happened to Sister Lee at the door of my house. I can't help but feel a little guilty in my heart. I bit my lip. Pass him the pumpkin pie. Go home obediently. Mom went to buy you toys. He asked you to wait for him at home. Don't open the door to anyone. Kunkin suddenly reached out and grabbed my sleeve. I scared a smart guy. I thought that Kunkin might also be a glutton in disguise. I jerked my arm out. Mom has the key. We'll open the door by itself. You obediently go home first. The elevator door just opened at this time. The baby didn't seem to notice my alertness. Smiling in eyebrows, he said thank you to me and ran away from me. After taking a long breath of relief, I started to worry about sharing my food with Kunkin again. Will it violate any rules? And then died. Another message was sent to the group, dear owners. Rule updates. Home may not be safe either. Please be vigilant, because gluttons will pretend to be your relatives, but they are afraid of anything that reflects light. Look at this rule. I'm confused. This is contrary to the rule that home is safe. Which rule is fake? I opened the door worriedly. A familiar yet unfamiliar face caught my eye. My heart beats like a drum. But my mother passed away in a car accident 4 years ago. I made your favorite chicken casserole. Mom grinned. Still the same as before. I staggered back 2 steps, looking at him in horror. Is this girl stupid? Why don't you come in quickly? Mom said, turning around and entering the kitchen. I stared blankly at him working in the kitchen. The food was on the table quickly. It tastes burnt and mushy. My mother's dark eyes stared at me. A stiff smile appeared on the innocent face. I know he is a glutton pretending to be his mother. But my eyes still turned red unconsciously. I left something in the room. I turned around sharply, towards the bedroom, then locked the door. Tears can't stop falling. After I slowly regained my senses, suddenly I thought of those 2 contradictory rules. That means your home is safe. That rule is fake. At this time, the door was suddenly pushed open with a strong force. He stood at the door and looked straight at me. Girl, the meat in the pot is getting cold. The cold wind blew across my face. I woke up instantly. I picked up the bedside mirror and looked at him. The glutton in front of me made a strange whimpering sound. Rush out the door. I held my breath and closed the door. I sat paralyzed on the ground thinking, I still feel scared after what I just experienced. I posted my experience to the group. People in the group responded to me one after another and told about his recent experience. Really diverse. Early the next day, protective clothing and gas masks were delivered. I put on a small mirror. I went to the supermarket without stopping, shopping for a day's food. I'm on tenterhooks every minute, because screams would come from outside the window from time to time. I don't know which rule they broke. I'm worried about stepping on a thunderbolt. I memorized the rules several times every day. After finding out that I didn't break the rules by giving Kunkin food, every time I go to the supermarket, he always brings back some food that he likes to eat, then hang it on the doorknob of his house. Leave after I knock 3 times. He's opening the door to get it. Until the 4th day, when I just came out of the supermarket. The bottom of my foot was tripped by something, fell to the ground. The food in my arms was also scattered on the ground. Suddenly there were many more people around. Took away all the food. I sat on the ground feeling helpless. Suddenly I discovered that the human heart is really scarier than a glutton. The mentality of the owners gradually collapsed. Some people started complaining in the group. Living like a year. Looking forward to the 7th day coming soon. Look at their messages. I smiled helplessly. Finally got to the 7th day. There are fewer and fewer people speaking in the owner group. In the afternoon, I took precautions and went downstairs. Went into the supermarket in a flash, after buying something, just preparing to check out. Suddenly there was a scream in my ears. I followed the sound. Before I could react, have a pair of hands just pushed me down at the feet of a man. The mirror in my arms was also broken to the ground. I looked up. The man is holding a big bag of fresh meat in his hand, eyes staring straight at me. He is a glutton. This realization made my nervous throat go dry. My palms are all sweaty. Anyone can be greedy. Eaters pretending to be ghosts. Gluttons like to eat meat. If in danger, you can throw the people around you out. I looked at the person who pushed me in shock. He glanced at me guiltily. The glutton in front of me is getting closer to me step by step. People around are also running around. I moved back in fear, seeing him getting closer and closer to me. Just when I thought I was about to die, a little hand suddenly grabbed me. Auntie, come with me. Kunkin. Kunkin pulled me all the way. We arrived at the toilet next to the back door of the supermarket, then locked the door decisively. There was a crazy banging sound outside the door. I held Kunkin firmly in my arms. Auntie, don't be afraid. They can't get in. Kunkin's words. It reminded me of that rule. The toilet next to the back door of the supermarket is unlocked. Can be borrowed. The boss won't blame. Kunkin, how do you know this? My voice is trembling with surprise. Actually, my mother and I have played this game many times. It was my mother who led me to defeat the monsters. Mentioned mother. Kunkin's eyes were filled with tears. See the perseverance in the children's eyes. I'm sure he didn't lie. Take out your phone quickly. Posted this message in the owner group. We are saved. Hurry up and gather in the toilet of the supermarket. I also took a photo of the rules on the toilet seat. Post to group. Someone in the group quickly replied to me, "Don't believe him. He is lying. He wants to lure us there." I saw the glutton catch him with my own eyes. Looking at the questioning messages one after another, I feel a little sad. There is still noisy outside the door. I covered Kunkin's ears. Tell him everything will be fine. Night is gradually coming. My baby and I are hungry and sleepy. I fell asleep unconsciously. When I woke up the next day, surrounded by people, they didn't wear gas masks, not wearing protective clothing. An uncle who looked like a firefighter asked us if we had any. "Where does it hurt?" I shook my head blankly. "You two are so lucky. What does this mean?" The fireman told me. A huge fire broke out in Unit 2 of Maji community last night, except me and Kunkin. Everyone else perished in the flames. My face is full of disbelief. Hug Kunkin tightly. Did we really survive? After they confirmed we had nothing to do with the fire. Just let us go. I rented a house with Kunkin to stay temporarily. The weather forecast reports heavy fog in the next 7 days. Citizens, please be prepared.